Have you ever looked at your pantry and thought, I'm doing everything right? You've swapped chips for trail mix, cut back on sugar, started watching your salt. But what if I told you that some of the so-called healthy snacks like nuts could quietly be working against your health, especially as you age? See, not all nuts are created equal. And once you're past 60, the little choices we make day in and day out can either protect your heart, kidneys, and energy levels, or slowly wear them down. Let's start with a common one. 1. Macadamia nuts. They look fancy. They taste rich. Macadamia nuts are the kind of thing you find in gift baskets or gourmet trail mixes. And sure, they've got that smooth, buttery flavor that feels luxurious. But underneath that creamy taste, a surprising trap for seniors. Macadamia nuts are packed with saturated fat, the kind that raises LDL cholesterol, the bad one. And while younger bodies might handle that overload more efficiently, older adults face a different equation. Aging naturally stiffens blood vessels. Metabolism slows. Heart function can already be under strain. Add macadamias to your daily habits, and you've just poured fuel on a slow-burning fire. Let me paint a picture. Walter, 78, thought he was doing something smart. He ditched his nightly cookies and replaced them with a handful of macadamia nuts while watching the evening news. His doctor even applauded the change until his next cholesterol panel came back. The levels were worse than before. Turns out, his healthy snack was a hidden source of saturated fat more than what you'd find in some cuts of red meat. Macadamias aren't evil, but they're dense nutritionally and calorically. A small handful? Sure. But a few handfuls each week, every week, that adds up. And seniors, especially, are at risk of crossing the line without even realizing it. So what can you do instead? Go for almonds or walnuts in moderation. They lean more toward heart-healthy, unsaturated fats, especially omega-3s, and support rather than strain your cardiovascular system. Remember, your heart's been working for decades. Fuel it with something that gives back. 2. Salted and flavored peanuts. Now, let's talk about something that feels harmless: peanuts. You see them everywhere. Sports bars, waiting rooms, even home kitchens. And for a lot of seniors, they've become a staple snack, easy to grab, full of protein, and better than junk food. Right? Well, not always. The moment you add salt, honey roasting, barbecue flavor, or that smoky glaze, the story changes. Suddenly, you're not just eating peanuts, you're ingesting a cocktail of sodium, artificial flavorings, and preservatives. Why is that a big deal for older adults? Because sodium silently drives up blood pressure. It taxes the kidneys, pushes the heart to work overtime. And the effects? They show up subtly: swollen ankles, fatigue, shortness of breath. You think it's just aging, but sometimes it's your snack working against you. Let me introduce Marlene, 74. She kept a jar of honey-roasted peanuts right next to her recliner. It was her evening treat: light, tasty, and better than chips. Over time, though, she started feeling more tired. Her blood pressure spiked despite taking the same meds. Her ankles swelled. When her dietitian visited and looked through her snacks, the culprit was clear: salt, sugar, and additives disguised as healthy. You see, unlike table salt that you shake onto food and notice, the salt in flavored nuts is hidden, baked right in. You're not just eating peanuts, you're unknowingly loading up on sodium with every handful. So what's the better route? If you love peanuts, switch to dry roasted, unsalted versions. Enjoy them in small portions. Be mindful of how often you're reaching for the jar, because snacks, especially the ones we eat without thinking, can quietly become habits. And habits, especially later in life, shape how we feel day to day. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. If you're still with me and learning something new, comment number 2 below. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the rest of this series, and we can keep bringing you smart, simple insights that support a stronger, healthier life. Now, are you ready for the nut that might literally carry poison? We'll get into that next. 3. Bitter almonds. At first glance, bitter almonds look just like the regular ones. Same shape, same size, same earthy brown shell. But the difference inside? It's not just dramatic, it's potentially deadly. Bitter almonds contain amygdalin, a naturally occurring compound that transforms into cyanide when digested. Yes, that's cyanide, the same one used in poisons. Now, most stores in the US don't stock bitter almonds for this exact reason. But here's where it gets tricky. Some international stores carry them. They show up in imported snacks. Sometimes they're mislabeled. Sometimes you'll find them in traditional homemade recipes or natural health food markets. And when the label isn't in English, or when the packaging looks organic or raw, most people don't think twice. Albert, 81, didn't. He picked up a bag of almonds at a local international grocery store. The packaging was in another language, and he figured almonds are almonds. Over the next couple of days, he started feeling off, nausea, fatigue, dizzy spells. His daughter got worried and checked the bag with a pharmacist. The verdict? Bitter almonds. The kind that should never be eaten raw, especially not by seniors. And here's the deeper issue. As we age, our liver and kidneys process toxins more slowly. Our digestion becomes less efficient. That means even a small dose of something toxic can hit harder and stay longer in our system. What might cause mild discomfort in a younger adult could send a senior to the emergency room. Some countries sell bitter almonds for cooking or oil extraction, but they're always meant to be heated thoroughly before use, which reduces the cyanide. Eaten raw, they're dangerous. Period. The best way to protect yourself? To avoid raw almonds that taste bitter or sharp, spit them out and throw them away. To be cautious with international food products if you can't read the ingredients. Stick to almonds from reputable brands, and when in doubt, ask someone you trust before adding anything unfamiliar to your diet. You've spent decades building a life. Don't let a small mistake sneak past your radar just because it looked natural. 4. Candied and honey-roasted nuts. Now this one hits a little closer to home for most people because it feels harmless, even joyful. Candied pecans, honey-glazed cashews, sweet, crunchy almonds tossed on a salad. They don't look like desserts, but they act like sugar bombs once they hit your body. Let's get honest, sugar is everywhere. But for older adults, its effect is magnified. Your body's ability to regulate blood sugar naturally starts to dip as you age. Even if you're not diabetic, your insulin sensitivity drops, making it easier for glucose levels to spike and harder for them to come back down. Lorraine, 76, learned that the hard way. She thought she was making a smart trade, swapping out dessert for a few honey-glazed pecans after dinner. Felt lighter, more wholesome. But then the fatigue started creeping in. She got dry mouth at night. Her focus slipped. Eventually, her doctor ran an A1C test, a measurement of average blood sugar, and it had silently crept into prediabetic territory. The only change in her routine? Those sweet-coated nuts. Here's what most people don't realize. That shiny glaze isn't just for show, it's often concentrated sugar mixed with syrup. Just one handful can have 10 to 15 grams of added sugar, especially with commercial brands. And worse yet, these nuts often contain preservatives, stabilizers, and flavor enhancers that disrupt digestion and may even contribute to insulin resistance over time. It's not just about the sugar either. It's about how casually these snacks creep in. Sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter. Served at family gatherings. Sprinkled into healthy salad recipes. And because they're nuts, you think, well, it's better than a cookie, right? Not always. The truth is, once nuts are coated in sugar, they lose nearly all of their health benefits and become closer to candy than food. So what's the smart move? Choose plain, raw, or dry roasted nuts without coatings. Pair them with fresh fruit if you're craving something sweet. Keep portions small and intentional, a closed handful, not a free-for-all scoop. Read the labels, avoid any nut snack with added sugars, corn syrup, or glazes. Candied nuts aren't inherently evil, but they're often misunderstood. And when you're trying to stay strong and independent in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, that daily sweet bite can be quietly undermining your hard work. If this has been helpful so far, please take a second and comment number 4 below. It lets me know you're here, you're learning, and it helps us reach more people like you who deserve clear, honest information. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next part of this series because in the final section, we'll bring everything together and show you what to eat instead, how to spot misleading labels, and how one or two small changes could dramatically improve your energy, digestion, and peace of mind. See you in the next part. Over the last few minutes, we've uncovered some surprising truths. Nuts, those crunchy little snacks we often consider healthy, can quietly become harmful, especially as we age. From the high saturated fat in macadamia nuts to the sneaky sodium in flavored peanuts. From the hidden poison in bitter almonds to the sugar overload in candied varieties. Each of these can slowly wear down your body if you're not paying attention. But here's the good news. Once you know the risk, you can make better choices. You don't have to cut out nuts entirely. You just have to be smarter about how you include them in your diet. Let's recap quickly. Macadamia nuts. Avoid regular snacking. They're high in saturated fat, which can raise cholesterol and damage heart health over time. Salted and flavored peanuts. High in sodium and often packed with artificial additives. They stress your blood pressure and kidneys, especially dangerous if you're already on medication. Bitter almonds. Dangerous. Even a small amount can be toxic. If something labeled almond tastes sharp or bitter, spit it out immediately and don't buy it again. Candied or honey-roasted nuts. Packed with processed sugar that disrupts blood sugar levels, increases inflammation, and can sneak you into prediabetes without warning. So, what should you eat instead? Smarter nut choices. If you still want that crunch, that flavor, that satisfying handful after lunch, here are better options that support your health rather than drain it. Raw or dry roasted almonds. They're rich in vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy fats. Great for your heart and brain when eaten in moderation. Walnuts. Especially good for omega-3 fatty acids, which support heart function and may even protect cognitive health. Pistachios, unsalted, a complete protein source and one of the lowest calorie nuts per serving. Great for those watching weight and cholesterol. Cashews, unsalted, roasted, high in minerals like copper and zinc. Just keep an eye on portion size. Pair nuts with fresh fruits, like apple slices or berries. You get fiber, antioxidants, and a naturally sweet touch without overloading your system with processed sugar. And if you're craving something crunchy but want to cut back on fat, try air-popped popcorn, roasted chickpeas, or rice cakes with nut butter. Watch the labels. One of the most important habits you can build right now is becoming a label detective. Look for added sugars like dextrose, corn syrup, glucose. Sodium content under 140 milligrams per serving is ideal. Hydrogenated oils or preservatives like BHT. Natural flavors, which are often anything but natural. The truth is, marketing can fool even the most well-intentioned shopper. Heart healthy doesn't always mean safe. Natural doesn't always mean nutritious. And snack size doesn't always mean appropriate for a senior's body. The older we get, the more sensitive our systems become. What worked in your 40s or 50s might not serve you the same way now. But that's not a weakness, it's an invitation to adapt. Your health, your control. This isn't about fear. It's about awareness. Your body has carried you through decades of hard work, family, joy, grief, and discovery. It deserves nourishment that honors everything it's done for you and everything it still can do. Making the switch from harmful nuts to healthier options isn't a huge leap. It's a simple daily choice, and those choices stack up. Better energy, clearer thinking, the steadier blood sugar, the heart that works more efficiently, kidneys that don't have to fight so hard, a life that feels lighter not just in weight, but in freedom. Let's make this personal. Ask yourself right now, is there one nut in your pantry you could swap out today? Could you replace that salted jar of peanuts with an unsalted option? Could you stop buying those sugary pecans and try a handful of raw walnuts instead? Maybe today is the day you read the label before you buy. Or maybe you text a friend or family member and share what you learned because they deserve this information too. And now, I want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from this video? What snack are you going to reconsider or maybe completely replace starting today? Drop your answer in the comments below. Let's turn this into a conversation, a community of people who are aging intentionally, eating wisely, and living fully. If this video helped you, please take a second to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future content. Your support means the world. It helps us keep bringing you clear, helpful, and life-changing information. And as always, stay informed, stay strong, stay kind to your body. We'll see you in the next one.